As we continue our Jesus Tree story, we're continuing in the story of Abraham. Now, the story's too long to read all of it, so I'll put the chapters onto the video, but listen to this. Then the Lord took Abram outside and said to him, "Look up into the sky and count the stars if you can. That's how many descendants you will have." And so we place the picture on our Jesus tree. Stars in the sky. Now, as we go through the story of Abraham, we come to that moment when God says, "I am going to put you to the test." When God had told Abraham that he was going to have as many descendants as stars in the sky or grains of sand on the seashore, Abraham believed God. We talked about his faith yesterday. And it says in Genesis 15, "And Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith." But we know as we go through the story that doubt crept into the minds of Abraham and Sarah, and there's the whole episode with Hagar and Ishmael. But then, even when Isaac has been born, when it has been granted by God that they should have a son, which is the beginning of the answer to the promise about descendants, that this crazy test comes along, that God says to Abraham, "I want you to take Isaac to the top of the mountain and I want you to sacrifice him there for me." I cannot even begin to imagine that journey up a mountain. Not a short journey, not an easy journey with donkeys and packs and twigs to make a fire and carrying a knife with which you intended to kill your one and only son because God asked it of you. But the picture we're going to put on the Jesse tree now, the second picture today, is this: the ram. If you read the story in those chapters, you know that Abraham got to the very top of the mountain and had his knife raised for the death blow before he was stopped. And there in the thicket was the ram that was provided by God to replace Isaac as the sacrifice. My Lenten thought is this: what would you be prepared to sacrifice if God asked of you? What would you be willing to give up if you thought that it was for the good of the kingdom, the good of God's plans? And my final thought is this: remember, Abraham wasn't the last in the Bible to be willing to sacrifice his one and only son for God's plan. That's why Jesus came. What would you sacrifice? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.